All right, so the other day I was riding with the Thai national team. Now, this is a mix of under 23 riders, junior riders, and maybe a senior rider or two. We got girls, we got boys, we got men, we got women. So it's pretty interesting just watching how everyone pedals, what's going on. This person ahead of us, I believe, they did have DI2, and I think they couldn't shift because they're in the small ring and the sort of biggest on the back, and they were just spinning. Now, it's a very interesting thing, and a lot of people, especially a lot of the Thais, seem to do this. It's very odd. Is that when they're not going hard, and I mean like the roads are really fast here, so not going hard, like as in they might still be going 30, 35 k's an hour. They just shift in the small ring and just use like the small. It's a very odd phenomenon, and I don't quite understand why they do it. Maybe it's because they want to spin more, and like that's a way to make sure they spin more. I'm not 100% sure, but it is definitely something that you noticed. So I was riding just behind them. It was pretty good. We had a police convoy, so they were making sure that everyone didn't pull out in front of the riders, which is pretty nice. So yeah, it was definitely a good ride to be on. There were about 20 or so people on the road in this little group. They left at about 8 o'clock, and it wasn't too hot. A lot of them wear arm warmers, which is pretty sensible. Don't want to get burnt. I don't think they really get burnt that much, the Thais, but don't want to risk any chance of that. A couple wore leg warmers, as you can see on the right here. But yeah, they were pretty chilled people. Like they knew how to ride a bike. Obviously, all these people, they race most weekends, I would guess. So yeah, they were pretty comfortable in the pack. Like no hands, all of that was pretty chill for them. You can tell if they were juniors mainly just because they would have like a 14 tooth on the back because of junior gears. If you're not aware, if you're a junior, you can't have like a 50-11. So I believe the most common ratio I think you're allowed is a 52-14. So most of them will have that gearing, or maybe a 50-13 maybe, or something around that. Anyway, so yeah, it was interesting looking at their bikes. Most of them, I don't believe, had bike sponsorships. Maybe one or two might have them got a cheap deal or whatever. But the national team definitely isn't sponsored by one bike. So for instance, in the UK, the national team is sponsored by Cervelo, so everyone will get given a Cervelo. But here, that is not the case. It was really interesting to see how many people had power meters. Not very popular. And obviously, in Thailand, power meters are pretty expensive. More expensive than, obviously compared to like everything else, bikes are expensive in Thailand, but power meters even more so. So I guess not all of them have that much money to spend on their bikes. So they might be able to get a bike maybe cheap from the bike shop, but don't really think they need a power meter, which I thought was very interesting because I don't know, most people generally ride with power meters now, who are sort of serious-ish, but I guess budget and maybe they just don't think it's as important. Wheels, most people had, some people had carbon wheels, some people had normal wheels. All the bikes were like classic carbons, like there wasn't anything like spectacular. Most of the people on like the bunch ride that I do, the Starbucks bunch ride on Friday, have nicer bikes than these guys in reality. But some of them some of the older guys I think had some nice bikes, but definitely the juniors, not anything crazy. A couple TCRs in there. TCRs are very popular here as well. So yeah, it was pretty interesting just seeing how everyone was pedaling. I'd definitely say like there is a difference between these guys and like the World Tour guys that I've ridden with before, obviously. And I wouldn't say all their pedaling technique is absolutely super smooth or incredible. But it was good to ride with them nonetheless, just to see what they do. They were going for a real easy, probably like 2-3 hour ride, just like 100 watts on the back, 200 watts on the front. You can see this guy on the left is honking everyone's horn, making sure no one's pulling out. I believe he was sort of their coach or something. But yeah, they all stay in the Mercure Hotel, I believe it is, in Chiang Mai, when they're training here. It's a pretty good place to train, probably one of the best. I guess it is probably the best place to train in Thailand because they all seem to come here. Lots of mountains here, lots of flat roads. It's just a good place to be. So it's nice just hanging on the back. It's always good to ride with other people. I feel like when I ride with sort of people who know how to ride and like spin a lot, you're suddenly really concentrating on your pedaling technique and like saving energy and things. So you can see on the left, this guy's just dropping back, done his little turn on the front. It was a real cash pace all day. Unfortunately, Tori got a puncture, so we could not continue. I probably should have done that, but to get some more footage for you. But alas, I was a good bloke, so I stopped and she didn't really help fixing it. But we turned around. I'd already done a couple hours for the day, already done a Doisatep effort, so I was not feeling like I wanted to do like a 5-hour ride with these lads. But anyway, you can definitely see this guy at the back definitely has some problems with his gears because he's not pulling through at all and just seems to be spinning quite cluelessly. This guy on the left seems a bit older. I guess he's probably a senior rider. He's got a nice Tarmac SL5, I believe, or the older version, nice carbon wheels as well. He had probably the nicest bike on the ride, but he was looking pretty cash as well. pretty comfortable on the bike, as you can see, just moving the legs around and just seeing what is going on. Sorry for my GoPro is a little bit smudged at this moment in time. I forgot to clean it before I left my house, which was a noob mistake because the footage is not exactly parfait, not up to the usual standard that I expect. But anyway, it was all good. If you have any questions about riding with pros or riding with these national teams, then let me know. I would quite like to do, some intervals with these people, see how fast they are. I'm not really sure what the level of the Thai national team is. Like, obviously the top guys, like, they're not going to be that dissimilar to the top pros around the world. Like, generally, the powers are just a little bit different, but it's not crazy. But these juniors, I wonder how fast some of them are. Some of them looked pretty solid. Like, there was one bloke who was maybe like 6 foot, real solid built, but others were generally sort of classic Thai build, not too big, quite slight. So yeah, it was interesting to see that. I'm not sure what races they do. I guess they just probably do some local Thai races and probably some international races. I'm not sure if they go over to Europe or not. Like, it's probably quite expensive. But it's definitely like helpful for them if they want to get and try and get in a European team if they're racing in Europe, because racing here is interesting because the roads are also wide. So like you can see here, I mean, a lot of the races do happen on highways. I've talked to people and they're like, yeah, a lot of the races just like highways and then maybe a climb at the end or something, but they're not as technical or nowhere near as technical as the races in Europe with, like, for instance, Belgium, where there's just like corners every 5 meters or whatever. But yeah, it'll be pretty cool if any of these Thai riders go big, hit the world tour or whatever. It'll be interesting to see if that happens or not. I mean, it'll be quite crazy for these people suddenly to hit the world tour. It'll be quite a change of scenery, quite a change of, I don't know, just quite different to their lives at this moment in time. But yeah, they're all pretty approachable, pretty friendly. None of them really had any issue with us hopping on the back, which was nice. There was just, a good vibes. At one point I thought all the people were like honking us to get out the back, but it's actually just all the traffic. They're pretty good at pointing things out, actually. Just making sure no one crashed or anything, which was good because you really don't want to crash. But yeah, it was like, maybe for me it was like 130 watts or 150 watts at the back, so it was nothing major at all. That's the thing with the pro guys. These guys aren't pro, but like the national team riders or whatever, they never really they don't seem to do together, like as a ride together. They don't really seem to do like, hard tempo rides where they'll just be like riding like an hour at tempo or something. They generally just go real easy together and then maybe do some efforts if they need to. Because obviously, I'm not sure here, but often people have different schedules, they have different coaches, so it's like each day people have different things to do. So it's easier if they just roll out real easy, and if someone wants to have a rest day, they can just do that, maybe turn around earlier, and if they want to do some intervals, then they can just cruise with them and then do some intervals up some climbs or whatever. But I think this is sort of just a general sort of 2-hour spin, 2-3 hour spin down the highway, very flat ride, no elevation. That's a good thing here. If you want to do a flat ride, like you can literally do a pan flat ride, maybe 100 meters elevation in 200k or something. Like, it's insane how flat Chiang Mai can be. Or you can do the hills and smash out some intervals up the hills. I think the mountain bike team did Samong, which is a decent climb. I've actually yet to do it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to do that potentially with the Thai team. They seem to go up there quite often. So anyway, cheers for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want me to do more videos with the Thai national team, then let me know down below, because I can do this. Or if you want me to do more intervals or KOM efforts or whatever you want, I will do. I believe I will be going for a King of the Mountain tomorrow, which should be good laugh. Should get this one by about 30 to 40 seconds is my prediction. But yeah, cheers for watching, and I will see you in the next video.